Hey guys, Technomentary with a video for you guys on top 10 settings that you should change now on your iPhone if you recently upgraded or are running a new OS, or if you got the phone and these are default settings. We're going to go ahead and show you guys why you should change them now for a better experience on your iPhone. Before we get started, if you guys are new to our channel, make sure you hit the like and then subscribe button. We do a lot of tech reviews around iPhones and other phones, and also do a lot of giveaways as well. Check out our video on some unboxing video where we show you guys how to get really cheap phones online from different sites like Amazon and eBay. So let's get started right now. So the first thing you want to do is go into settings. So find settings. Once you're in settings, you're going to want to go into your privacy settings here. So the privacy is a big area. Every time Apple does update, you want to go review your location services here. Once you go in there, you want to go to system services. Under system services, the first thing that you want to start looking in all of these services that are using the location services, underneath the covers that you might not realize. And Apple doesn't display any kind of icon to note that they're actually utilizing the built-in GPS, which consumes up your battery to run based on these settings. So you want to review this and then look at the ones that you can turn off. For example, if you don't use Apple Pay and it doesn't apply to you, you can turn that off. You might want to keep cell network search. There's other ones, for example, compass calibration. If you don't use the compass a lot, you might not need that. Emergency one you might want to leave on. Find My iPhone you want to leave on. HomeKit, if you're not using the HomeKit app or the Apple tool, you might want to go ahead and turn that off. All these location-based services that you're seeing that Apple wants based to make suggestions, you might not want to leave them on because these are related to ads and alerts. So you go ahead and turn those off as well. Motion and calibration. This one, depending on if you use the fitness app and other apps that require the motion, you might want to leave it on. That up to you again. If you don't use fitness app like that, you can go ahead and turn that off. Time setting zone. This one, if you travel a lot, this is useful because the phone automatically picks up the time zone. But if you don't, you can go ahead and turn that off. So I don't travel a lot, I'll go ahead and turn that off. Share my location is whenever you're sending and sharing your location with friends and family. We'll leave that one on. System customization, I don't know. Well, I don't think we really need that. You can turn that off. Wi-Fi networking, same thing. You may not really need those. Again, you can always leave them on or turn it back on whenever you need it. If you really need it, that system itself will tell you to go ahead and turn that on. So we'll go ahead and turn that off. The next area we want to look at is product improvement. This area is to improve the Apple product. Do I want the Apple to use my phone as a guinea pig? I don't think so. So I'll go ahead and turn these off. So I use my phone to improve their product because, I don't want them to rely on my phone services for that, special location services, which the GPS is being utilized. Finally, the one area that you want to look at is this status bar icon. So you want to go ahead and toggle that one on. So Apple likes to hide that component whenever these system services are using your location services. But if you have this on, so if you have a location-based service under system services that's running, it will give you that icon up here. So now that I know, oh hey, my location service is being utilized, which means my GPS is on, consuming up my battery. So that will give you an indication. So that's why it's important to have this turned on. Let's move on to the next tips and trick for you guys. This is going to be under settings as well. So once you're in settings, what you want to do is go back to the main settings screen. Once you're there, you want to go to accessibility. And this time in accessibility, what do we want to look for is this audio visual component. So under audio visual component, you want to make sure this phone noise cancellation is turned on, because what this will allow the phone to do is actually cancel out ambient noises whenever you are talking on the phone, especially when you have the receiver to your ear, because you don't want background noise, and that can distort calls and you make those feedback really bad on the other end. So you want to go ahead and turn that one on. Will make your phone calls much clearer. I tested it on and off, and usually people find it's more clear when this setting is on. So go ahead and turn that on as well. Let's move on to the next component here. It's going to be under accessibility again. Also this time we're going to look in the touch. So under touch, there's a couple things that we're going to look at. The first thing we're going to look at is this Assistive Touch. So Assistive Touch allows you to use your iPhone if you have difficulty touching the screen, or if you require some kind of accessibility touch, or even if your side button or home button on this phone doesn't work, you can actually utilize this. So what you can do is you can turn that on, and you'll see this little thing popped up. Under this one, you will have a custom menu to actually use this on-screen assistive touch instead of the home button or the side button to control your phone. Also, along with that is this neat feature of being able to customize your top level menu. So here we can actually now customize, based on how many icons we want by adding plus or minus, and then select which one we want for each of the icons here. As you can see right now, there's 5. You can add more. So I think it allows you to add up to 8, and then we can organize them the way we want it based on the need for our assistive touch. So that's also cool as well. So I'll go ahead and turn that off for now to have more screen to show you guys. Next thing we want to look at is actually this shake to undo. So shake to undo is a way that if you shake your phone whenever you're typing or something, it'll undo that for you. So if you accidentally make a mistake, it's a way to undo it for you. But you can actually go ahead and turn that off, because on iOS 13 and the newer phone, now we have gesture. So if you use like a 3-finger swipe left or right, it will redo and undo for you. So no really need for that anymore. So in my opinion, I usually go turn that off because I find it useless. Next thing also in touch that we want to look at is this call audio routing. So this call audio routing, basically whenever if you have a phone call or audio call coming through, what it will do is automatically allow you to receive it on your phone. But this time you can actually enable it if you have like a Bluetooth handset or speaker that you want the phone to go directly. You can actually select those options. It will route your phone to those devices. This is helpful, especially if you're use your hands to do something. Those routing will allow you to actually not use the phone. And then you want to do is go ahead and turn a auto answer. So this will answer the phone after 3 seconds after the phone is being called. So you want to play around with that as well. Let's move on to the next settings also that we want to talk about. This is another setting which I think it's one of those annoying settings that you never think about, but it's very important to take a look at. So if we go to music, you see under music we have this screen pop up saying welcome to Apple Music, right? If we look at that, it's very cluttered, and each time you launch it, it will ask you to subscribe to Apple Music and all this right here, right? If you don't want to subscribe to Apple Music, I generally don't. What I like to do is go into settings. So let's go back to settings again, and this time in settings we're going to go to music. So if we go down to music, we're going to see this option that says show Apple Music. We're going to turn that off. So this time when we turn this off and go back to the music app, we're not going to have those annoying pop-ups, and you'll have a much cleaner menu down here below. As you can see, it's only the default search, radio, and then library one. This is very helpful because you don't get pestered each time you open up the app to sign up for Apple Music, because Apple wants to keep on pushing you to subscribe to that service, which I find annoying since I don't use Apple Music. Next thing you want to look at is in settings is this component for cellular data. So what this uses is your cellular data for updating your library. So what this will do is, if you have a lot of updates that happen with your music library, it will use your cellular data, which can consume up a lot of your data. And if you have a limit on your data, let's say 5 gig or 10 gig, it will eat that up pretty quick without even realizing it. So usually I like to go ahead and turn that off, because I don't want them to update the library whenever, if there's no Wi-Fi, because I don't want usage of my data gone just because it needs to update a big library or something like that. Something to very carefully look at as well. Let's move on to the next setting for you guys. So this setting has to do with the camera itself. So in order to when you ever take pictures, there's this whole feature called formats, right? There's two different formats that video and photos can be captured. And by default, Apple selects high efficiency. What high efficiency does is it reduces the file size whenever you capture photos and videos in this, HEIF, HEVC format, which, will reduce the size so it'll have smaller amount of memory or storage that your phone consumes up. But what that does is it makes it less compatible to other devices. So what I find is usually if you turn on most compatible, this will allow the the photos and the videos that you take to be more compatible across different devices such as Androids, and even like if you use a PC, sometimes I find the format doesn't play out well or pictures get distorted. This will allow you to be more compatible across your other devices as well. Something else to play around with. Let's move on to the next and the 10th and the final setting for you guys, which is also in settings. This time we're going to go back to the main settings screen and then go to display and brightness. Under display and brightness, you're going to notice these couple settings around text sizes. So if you have difficulty looking at your text size, or you find it extremely uneasy on your eye, you want to play around with this. So text size, for example, here we can increase the size of our text. So if you have reading glasses, or if you need to have bigger text or font sizes on your picture, you want to go ahead and increase that. Or if you're person that likes smaller font, you can actually reduce the size. As you saw, as I moved this little button around, it increases the text size. Also, another one to note is this bold text. As you see right now, the texts are more bold and clear to read. So usually I like to turn that one on so everything on the settings, for example, is more bold and easier on the eye to read. Finally, you want to look at this setting around standard versus zoom. So across your messages and all these default application, sometimes it's hard to read, and you might want text and font to be a bit bigger because it's so small. You can actually now enable this zoom feature, so everything is much more bigger for you, better to see in some cases, if you have issues looking at the screen and the size of things. So that concludes it for the top 10 settings that I have for you guys today to show you guys. Hopefully these tips were helpful in determining whether you need them on or off right now, that are really important to look at. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching, guys.